It was because of opiates.
I mean,
Actually, it was because of that operation. So that was my best friend's team.
he was part of the recovery operation.
He was part of the recovery operation. He was. I'll tell you this. This. I've never talked about this, but he was. That was his sister platoon. He was in Iraq. They were having a great deployment, which means they were going after a lot of bad guys. His name's Gabe. I don't know if I should be doing this, but fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And because he had one of the worst runs I've ever heard, and he was engaged and had a mess up at a strip club and got a stripper pregnant. Broke off the engagement. Was going to do the right thing. He was going to do the right thing in his mind, which was to marry the stripper, have the baby, and he deployed to Iraq. Well, they were getting after it, and she went into labor. There were some complications, so he left Iraq to come home and to be with her while the baby was born. Gets home, goes to the hospital. The baby's dead. The mom is dead. He doesn't tell anybody. He goes back to SEAL Team 10 and says, hey, I want to go back with the guys over in Iraq. They say, oh, you didn't hear? The guys are coming home early. He had screened to go to development group, and they said, hey, you need to re-enlist. So how about you jump in with your sister platoon who's in Afghanistan right now? He's like, well, I don't have any of my gear. It's all in Iraq still. And they said, don't worry, you don't need gear. You're not going on operations. You're just going to go over there, re-enlist, get it done, jump back on the bird, come home. So he wears his dress camis, gets on the bird. They land in Germany for a layover, find out that Marcus is on the run. Then he lands in Bagram, so they know that 3 guys have died and that Marcus is on the run. They land in Bagram, and he finds out that the helo went down, which was all his, the rest of his friends. Wants to go on the recovery op with Dev. They wouldn't let him on at first, and he was like, basically, he's like, they're like, you don't have any kid, you can't go. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'll scrounge up some shit. So in his dress camis, goes and takes, piecemeals some shit together from the techs, gets like a helmet that doesn't fit with a monocle, piece of night vision, like a shitty rifle, without any optics on it. And he's in his, like a old flak jacket that, you knew the gear we were using back then because you made the movie, but it was like the old shit that didn't even have any magazines on it. Found a couple of magazine pouches, put it on, goes on the fucking op. The dev guys are all like, who the fuck is this? Why is the tech coming on this? And goes on the op. And goes on the op to recover the bodies. They get in a firefight out there, and he also had a role in Benghazi. He also had a role in the coast bombing at the agency, but never fucking told anybody. And he told me when he was in Buds. He was in Buds with I know James Suh was one. I think Axelson was the other. And he was in Buds when 9/11 happened, and through Hell Week. And he told me he was sitting on the grinder, or standing on the grinder. Suh was on one side, Axelson's on the other. And this is like 30 minutes after the towers go down.
What a time to be on the grinder.
Yeah, and so they give a speech, and they're basically saying, hey, like, it's been peacetime for a long time, and your guys' generation is going to war. And look to your right, and look to your left. There's a good chance that one of these guys are going to be dead, in the near future. James Matt Axelson, and when he landed in Bagram, it was that Master Chief that gave that speech that greeted him coming off the fucking bird.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And then he later died of addiction with opiates.